Your ability to be so comfortable with lying at that point in your life is terrifying.
Yeah. We need this amount of money or else you're going to be in handcuffs on the front page of the Wall Street Journal.
That day when the FBI come knocking, what is it like? Tell me, because I'm fucking terrified of the FBI and I've never met them.
And I kind of like looked back at the faces of the friends and family that were there. That was hard.
When you leave the Bahamas after that event, you come back to New York. You come back to a shitstorm.
Yeah.
I mean, the people that have given you, what, $27 million in cash must be pretty mad.
For sure. I land back on like the Sunday night after the festival around midnight. And then that morning early, the FBI is at my door. And I think like the initial investors who got really mad thought that the whole festival was a hoax and that I had stolen the money and had it hidden somewhere and it was like lying about the entire thing. And so it just like entered this whirlwind of hell.
Your investors basically went to the FBI?
Yeah. Yeah, from what I understand, yes.
What gives you that understanding?
Basically, I was called and told what was going to happen. It's like you fucked up. It's too late. Like, here's what's going to happen now. And like I was totally guilty, and I would have gone to jail. Like if no one made that phone call, I just made the process happen. Like the process kicked off faster, but once it kicks off, it's out of the hands of the investors and into the justice system. And I was black and white guilty. There was no gray area there.
And one of your investors called you and told you that if you didn't give them X dollar in cash, they would do what?
The exact lines were like, we need this amount of money or else you're going to be in handcuffs on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. And I just like didn't have the money, first of all.
How much was it?
I don't want to say because people will know who the investor probably is, but
7 figures?
Yeah. More than $1 million, more than one, less than 10. So I didn't have it. And then I was also kind of like certainly naive in my response. And at the time, I just couldn't fathom like that I was lying to investors, right? Like I knew I was trying my best to make the festival work. And the media's initial like line of questioning and the guest line of questioning as it was all falling apart was like, this was a scam. You didn't try to do this. So my reaction was like, no, I tried. I'm trying my best. But I couldn't like really understand the magnitude and the gravity of the crimes I did commit. So I was still kind of fighting back. Like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. I tried my best. And then of course, like I get back and realize, oh shit. I mean, it didn't happen overnight, but like, here's what actually happened. And yeah.
That day when the FBI come knocking.
Yeah.
This is before you're put on bail. What is it like? Tell me, because I'm fucking terrified of the FBI and I've never met them.
I'm so scared of them.
Just from movies. So tell me what that's like.
Scary as hell. And I think like, I wasn't defiant. I was more like, I tried my best. Like that was my own like internal like mentality. Like everybody at that time was accusing me and the festival of all being fake. And like, while I obviously made a million management decisions, the crime was like in lying to investors, right? But I just didn't comprehend yet like what I had really done. And I didn't realize that I was doing all these crimes for this end goal of making people successful. And even if it worked, I still would have gone to jail, but it didn't work and I was fucked. And it's like, couldn't understand at that point what was happening.
When did remorse show up and that realization of like guilt and what you'd done? When did that show up? It's hard to figure that out in your story.
Yeah, I think like the first day where I was like, something is really wrong was at sentencing when the judge said 6 years. And I kind of like looked back at the faces of the friends and family that were there. That was hard. And it's like, I legitimately just hurt, 30 people in a way that's going to affect them, not just for 4 or 5, 6 years, but for 20 years, 30 years, and it's never going to go away. And I don't like that wasn't all the lessons like learned in one day, but that I think was the start of what would take another 18 months of being in jail to really reflect on of like, wow, like this is fucking bad.
When you get back, the criminality doesn't stop though, does it?
No.
This is the bit, honestly, that really got me in the document because I was like, oh man, some could say young kid, negligent, inexperienced, his ambition was greater than his execution, told loads of lies. At that point, he learns his lesson. But then for the criminality and lying to continue beyond that point with this NYC VIP access where you start selling fake tickets, give me the context. Why did that happen?
Yeah, I've many smart people have said the same thing as you. And I was just caught in this process where, okay, this investor, he didn't threaten me, but the investor kind of gave me an ultimatum. I blew him off, and he was right. He got me arrested. It's all about the money. I have to pay everybody back now. All right, I'm gonna get him his money, and I wasn't like communicating with him at this point, but I'm gonna get him his money. I'm gonna pay everybody else back, and then this is all gonna go away, and I can solve this. And I thought that the proper response to a criminal process was to solve the problem, when the proper response to the criminal process is to sit down, shut the fuck up, and like accept your punishment and just take it. And any other response, just like the wrong way to do it.
So you were on bail?
I was on bail. And like, it was all about this desire, like, okay, now it's about the money. Let me pay people back. And back in the Magnesis days, like in the early Fyre days, brands would essentially pay us to like host these events for our members or to invite members to random things. And I would always get invited to these like charity events and the charity galas and concerts and, you know, award shows and whatever it may be. I can get +1 or +2 depending on it. And I thought like, oh, this is a great way to make money. I can just like, you know, call these brands back and ask for a favor and get a few spots and sell these tickets. I just like was so stupid and so wrong and obviously couldn't fulfill what I was selling. I'm like fucked up, and it's kept me awake at night just as much, if not more, than the festival. So we're on the same page there.
So you would Hamilton, the Super Bowl, you would email people, cold call them, tell them you had tickets, take the money, and then when the event happened,
I would scramble and try to get it, and sometimes I could, but many times I couldn't.
And you would keep their money.
I would refund it if the event didn't happen, but the problem was I was just so sold out for events in the future that I had no chance at actually fulfilling that, you know, when my bail got revoked and I got arrested, it was just like they lost their money.
And were you doing this in the Magnesis days? I heard a story about Hamilton. You said you had 200 tickets to Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the event came near, you just like randomly scrambled on like Ticket Hub or StubHub or whatever it is and bought the tickets last minute and would go and hand them out. But
so when in the lying period leading up to the festival, I was trying to get money from everywhere and definitely was trying to get more money from Magnesis to help pay the bills as well. I was so stupid, like was certainly overselling access to Magnesis events, but we ended up either buying the tickets like at an inflated rate or refunding everybody. So I lost money every single time. You know, it was crazy, like just so stupid.
Your ability to be so comfortable with lying at that point in your life is terrifying.
Yeah.
One could almost say it's like, it's kind of, I don't even know if I should say this, but it's kind of lucky that like it wasn't on an even bigger scale and it wasn't like life or death stuff that you were doing in terms of, you know what I mean? Because if you're that comfortable lying to people, that could have been, and you have the sales ability clearly, that could have been a lot. How has your relationship with lying evolved in the last couple of years since you've been in jail and you've come out? Like honestly, how has it changed?
Yeah. The lies at the time, I think just the craziest part was how stupid it was from every level. Like, you know, you work hard to build relationships with friends, with loved ones, with supporters. And obviously, as soon as you lie to them, it's going to get found out, whether it's the next day or in a year or in 5 years.
You didn't believe that?
What?
You didn't seem to ever believe that you'd be found out.
I always knew in the back of my mind they're going to find out, but I convinced myself that if I gave them what they want, which I thought was happiness and success, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, that's where I went wrong. And it's like, okay, they're going to know that our revenue wasn't this, but I'm going to make the money and they're going to have fun, so they're going to love me still. Like, it's so crazy to think about now, but like that was the thought process. And that's like, even like for the Magnesis tickets, like if we oversold a ticket for an event, I was literally like running around when I came back to New York for a weekend. Like I'd go outside Madison Square Garden and pay like 4 times the price and make sure that person was like happy in the moment, not realizing I just like lost a ton of money in the deal and actually hurt everybody else because we were losing money on it. So I was like so focused on this like long-term goal or short-term goal of happiness and success for everybody around me. And that's obviously driven due to insecurity and whatever these desires are. But yeah, like that was like my personal justification, and crazy, but that's what it was.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.